right, we've got everything milled down. Let's go ahead and run this through the shredder and see what we come out with. A couple of reasons why you would want to shred and store your own plastic is because you can actually heat this plastic up, remold it, and remanufacture it into new items. So I really look at this as another material resource. So this is a fun, creative way to do it. You can mix colors, such as I did here in this container, where I have a mixture of different plastics, also different colors. And you can mix these up and create many things. I've seen everything from handles to cutting boards to even tables made from recycled plastic. So essentially what you'll need for today's project is your string cutter. This can be made from a block of wood and a razor blade, okay? You're gonna need some scissors. Now preferably I use these with a point because I just like them. You're gonna need pliers to actually pull the string. You're also gonna need stuff to store your shredded or milled down plastic with. And you will need a shredder. Now this particular shredder, I will leave the link in the description below. I got off Amazon, and this is a powerful shredder. I'll go more into details about that later, but this is what we'll be using to shred the plastic with. I've got each plastic type separated based off of what type of plastic it is. So this first group is PET 1 or PETE 1. And how you know, you go over here to the indicator right here, and it should have a triangle with a number inside. And right here is where you'll see the PETE 1. Most of these will be shredded, and actually the caps here in this Gatorade bottle, the bottle is PETE 1, but the caps and the ring around the cap are HDPE 2. So that's the next plastic we're going to get into. So with the bigger bottle, we're going to turn into string, which we could turn into filament or plastic rope, as well as the milk jugs in the back. But with the smaller bottles, we're going to go ahead and shred those into plastic, such as this other plastic right here, which we can melt into other stuff. Okay, the next type of plastic is HDPE 2. So bottles like this, such as this old shampoo bottle, will be HDPE 2. How we can tell again? It will be marked right on the bottle. So let's see if we can focus here. And as you can see right there, let's see if I can get the camera to focus, is HDPE number 2. Okay, so all of these lids here, except for here, we're going to get into those in a minute. This yellow, clear, black in the lid are all HDPE 2. So as you collect, you should be able to get, and I'll show you, a nice little collection of caps, and this is essentially where your color comes from, okay? So this is HDPE 2. Similar in texture and flexibility is LDPE number 4. And I'll go ahead and get this cap here so you can see the marking, if I can get that in focus. Right, LDPE 4. All right, this one I found to be more interesting. This McDonald's lid is actually a PP5, and I'll get into there and I'll show you how it looks in the actual noodle cup here. But this is actually a PP5. So this one is a little bit different type of plastic. In this noodle cup, it's the same PP05 right here. So I'm curious to know to look this one up. So I'm not sure what it is, but we'll look this PP05 or PP5 to find out what type of plastic this one is. This lid also is different. This one's denoted PS6. And I haven't seen a lot of lids denoted this way, and I'll try to get it in focus. Let's see if I can. PS6 right here. Up is a category that you'll see sometimes, which is actually number 7. Okay, there's number 7 right here, and 7, also 7 mark here, stands for other. Usually when you have a mixed plastic, you'll have 2. This one tells you it's HDPE and Evron. So that's a mix. We're gonna run into plastics that are not marked at all. So it's a guessing game when you mill these down and categorize these. So basically, you don't know what this is, but you can compare it to other plastics that you are familiar with and kind of categorize this. So me personally, I would categorize this as a HDPE, just by the way it looks and feels. Okay, essentially I also wanted to mill plastics down and reuse them because I have several, as you can see, failed 3D prints. And rather than letting this plastic go to waste, I can mill it down and reuse it, such as this rotary blade for a trolling motor, okay? Or, for example, I have this vase, which I no longer need, or this little castle thing. So I really don't need these, but then I want to mill it down and 3D print something else from them. So that's another good use case of recycling plastic. Okay, let's prep our bottles first. So let's start here with the water bottle. All right, so first thing you want to do, cut the label off, get rid of that. We don't need this. All right, next step is to go ahead and take the cap off, and we want to put that in the HDPE category because that's essentially what it is. Now, pointy scissors comes in handy when you're trying to get this little locking lip up or seal. Now you can cut it and also put it in your HDPE. And now we have a blank bottle, but it's not ready yet. Either if you're making a string from this or if you're gonna mill it down, which we're gonna mill these down, you essentially wanna get the hole started at the top. Be careful when you do this. You wanna cut the top off. Okay, and essentially, we can mill this piece down too. Let's go ahead and get the rest cut. Okay, this is gone, all right? Set that aside. Now we have the bottle without the lid on top. So we're gonna cut the bottom as well. So we'll cut down the middle, just like this. Now this is for milling, not for the string. You're gonna cut it right down, cut it on another side, just like this. Essentially you can cut it on two sides of the seam, and then cut across. So essentially you made something that can fit in your shredder, but if you open the top of the shredder, you can do more, but this is essentially what you're looking for. Same thing with the other side. Okay. Now all three of these can be milled into the shredder. So I'm gonna process a few more bottles and then we're gonna go over to the shredder so you can see what that looks like. All right, we've got everything milled down. Let's go ahead and run this through the shredder and see what we come out with. Okay, we've got our shredder here, also different settings at the top. So let's go ahead, we've got our plastic cutting sheets. We're gonna go ahead and mill it down. So I'm gonna turn it on forward. Hear it running. You just start feeding your plastic through it. I can adjust the camera a little bit. And as you can see, it's making shreds. Let's go ahead and knock it out. And essentially, you just want your plastic shredded up well enough so you can melt it and then shape it into whatever you want. So you can run it through a couple of times. You can also mod this to allow more bulkier pieces of plastic to be milled, but you gotta take this top off. So I just wanted to show a way that you could do this without modding the shredder yet. But I will be modding the shredder so that way it accepts bulkier pieces of plastic. But this is an economical way. The shredders cost thousands of dollars. This is an economical way you can get into plastic recycling at home. All right. And so I'm gonna finish up milling these down off camera and show you the end results of what I got. All right, so let me finish up and then we're gonna go to the next clip here. All right, let's see what results we got. Let's see in the camera, lots of good milled down. And you can run this plastic through again once you open it and have the hopper. But look at this, guys. This is small enough to melt down into various other molds and shapes. But this is perfect. Okay, you want to make sure you have a container to store your plastic in, and make sure you keep these plastics separated, okay? put like for like. So this is the #1 plastic, okay? So if this was HDPE, then you will put HDPE together, all right? But this is not HDPE, okay? But it is all liking the same, all right? So essentially, you're looking at about 50 to 60 bottles milled down in this plastic container, all right? So let's look at some other plastics we milled down, and you can compare the style. Next, after we look at that, we're going to be turning bottles into string that will later be turned into 3D printed filament. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so here's the setup that I have, and essentially what you want to do is, however many notches you have, this just has 2, but you can add 3 or 4, however many you want. The height of the notch, as you can see right here, determines how big the strips are. So the bigger your notch, the bigger the strips. The smaller the notch, the smaller your strips. That's how this one works. So let's go ahead and clamp this one down and start cutting our bottles. Okay, you want it clamped down essentially with the blade facing whatever direction you're pulling against. So blade's facing forward, and I'll be pulling this way with the plastic bottle. Okay, so essentially with the bottle, you're just holding it down. And I've got the cutter set up on a flat surface, clamped down. And all you do is, see how this piece broke because I'm just starting it, okay? But you want to essentially get it started. Take your pliers, like we said earlier, and just start pulling the strips through. You want to hold this other side steady as you pull through. And there's your string. Now, the more durable your bottle is, the more stable your string cutting will be. So as you can see, I'm just pulling it through, and it's making my PETE #1 string. And later on, you can run this through a hot end and make it into 3D filament. But guys, isn't that cool? So I don't know, what do you think? Are there some ways or some ideas you're getting from recycling old materials, bottles, plastics? Think about all the things you can recycle and maybe some new possibilities that you may never have thought of before. As a matter of fact, leave those in the comment section. What would you use an old 2-liter bottle or old cleaning bottle, plastic bottle for? An old soap bottle. All right, so you just continue to pull just like this, and it's easy. Once you get towards the end, you'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to continue to pull, and as you can see, it's getting a little easier to slide through. And there you go. You can also cut this end as well too and bring it down some more, but I'm probably just going to mill this end down. All right, let's get to the next part of the video. So this is essentially your end result, a bunch of long, and I mean this is probably 30 or so feet of string, okay? So from one bottle. I really like how I'm able to store all the different colors and types of plastic in these containers. I've always saved these food containers, and they really came in handy now. As you can see, I can sort everything by color and also by type. So over here I have some HDPE, and here I have some PP, which is probably propylene, and I have some HDPE too. So all here. All right, good stuff. I would briefly like to talk about why you would want to do something like this. If you are trying to look for a great way to help the environment and recycle plastic items that you would normally throw away or recycle to a recycling center, you could do it this way. All right, so I was able to make some cording and banding out of different containers. Like this one came from a shampoo bottle, and this one came from a chocolate milk bottle. But it was really simple. All I had to do was clamp this device down. It has a razor blade right here, and you just simply screw it down and pull that string, and it turns it into this type of banding. Later on, I can turn this into a 3D filament. I was also able to shred different types of plastics. Here I have PP5, which is polypropylene. Also have some black polypropylene right here. And this is really cool. I was able to get several different colors, and you'll see it on the B-roll clip as I go through. But I was able to come up with different shreddings, and I had a lot of clear bottles because I had a lot of water bottles and different things of that nature, as you can see there. But overall, I was able to get these processed, and this shredder will be in the description. I'll go ahead and pull this over. This bonsai shredder did the job. It chewed this stuff up no problem. It is a 16 sheet shredder. And later on, I plan, if I can be successful, guys, I will add a hopper, take the top off, so I can actually, let me get this over here, I can actually repurpose these 3D prints. I have a lot of failed 3D prints, or just 3D prints that I thought I needed, but don't need anymore. So I can mill these down and then repurpose them into plastic molding projects or 3D filament. If you would like to support this channel, links are in the description below. Drop a comment if you learned something new on this video, and what would you like to see turned into from this plastic? Put some ideas in the comment section below, and possibly we'll get a video out there to see what we can do with it. All right, guys, always appreciate you supporting and watching the channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.